Last week, I started a conversation about things that you might not know about teenagers. So, things that are different about the teenage brain and the way that that affects their behaviors. And I realized as I was reading over it again and talking to some people about what I had written that I missed something that I think is really important. So, I wanted to talk about that today. Often when people are talking about teens and they're talking about their challenges in connecting to the teens in their lives, one of the things that they say is that teens are incredibly dramatic. Everything feels like a big deal. They have like crazy mood swings up and down, and that this makes them really unpredictable and difficult to empathize with. The teenage brain is actually going through changes that cause the teen to feel everything incredibly intensely. At no other point in your life are you going to feel the things that you felt when you were a teenager at the same level of intensity. And that is actually by design. The purpose of this is to support the teen in adventure seeking and pleasure seeking, so that they can go out on their own and they can leave their families behind and they can start to build a life of their own and understand who they are and how they fit in that life. However, because of the way our society is built, a lot of the times our teens are still in high school, they're still living with their parents, and so this adventure seeking and intensity of emotion can actually feel rather problematic, even though it's normal developmentally. So what does this mean for those of us who are trying to connect to the teens in our lives and who are trying to have really positive relationships with them? Well, a big part of what it means is that we want to be very respectful and kind to our teens, and we want to respect the big emotions that they're having. That means that, let's say that your 16-year-old was dating somebody for a month and a half, and then she's coming to you and she's sobbing and she's really, really upset because they broke up or he cheated on her, whatever. This is really, it may not seem like a big deal from your adult perspective, and you may not understand why the feelings are so big. It's really tempting to say things like, oh, you'll get over this in just a couple days. It really isn't that big of a deal. How well did you know him anyway? It's not like you guys were like really serious. It's really tempting to say things like that. And I'm sure that the intention behind it is to be supportive and kind and to help your teenager feel more empowered and like they're going to be able to move forward and be healthy moving forward. However, the way that the teen will likely experience this is that you are being dismissive, that you're being invalidating, that you don't understand how they're feeling or what they're going through. Cue the sort of like age-old teenage adage of like, no one gets me, no one understands me. And in a way, they're right, because the adults in their lives are really being dismissive of their feelings and not allowing them to communicate and process in the way that they want to and need to communicate and process. So if you're not saying things like, it's fine, you'll get better, you'll feel better in a couple days, he wasn't even that special, it's not that big of a deal, then what are you saying? Because as I've talked to parents of teenagers, I've heard questions like, well, what am I supposed to say? Because that's true. They are going to get over it. And frankly, I don't want to feed into this emotional mess. I don't want them to feel more invested. I don't want to be adding to that discomfort or that problem. Well, it is actually possible to validate your teen and to validate their feelings without encouraging or agreeing with what it is that they're saying. And mostly that's going to look like just invitations for them to speak and to process in front of you. And it's going to be reflective statements. So that might sound something like, I can see how much pain you're in. I'm so sorry that this is happening to you right now. Talk to me about what happened. Talk to me about how you're feeling. How is this going to be for you when you go back to school? Things like that are just reflecting let me be here with you while you're crying. Let me just hold you and talk to me about all of the things that were really important to you in that relationship. Basically, you're just inviting your teen to talk about the thing that's really important to them without any judgment and without invalidating or dismissing their feelings. So you're not agreeing to anything. You're not saying that you think that, they're right, their life is over, and you're not saying, that they're never going to be able to find somebody like that again. What you are doing is inviting conversation and communication, and you're allowing your teen to recognize this person really is interested in me and what I have to say, and my feelings matter. And in the end, that's what really matters. So I hope that is helpful for some of you, just kind of recognizing that the reason that your teen is so melodramatic and that they're feeling things so big is actually a product of their brain chemistry. It's a product of the changes that are happening in their brain at that time. And they're intended to feel things really deeply and intensely at this time. And it's developmentally normal. So when your teen is talking about something and they're having this really big emotional reaction, the most important thing that you're going to be able to do is reflective statements, validating their feelings and inviting them to talk more about what it means to them and what's happening for them. And by doing that, you're not agreeing to the outrageous or disproportionate statements or beliefs that they have. You're really just inviting relationship with them. So give it a try and let me know how it goes in the comments. I'll talk to you guys in 2 weeks. Bye-bye.